Right, we're going to end this hour with a bit of breaking news. Bukayo Saka, we understand, has agreed in principle a new 5-year contract with Arsenal. Saka's current deal currently up in 2027. It means that this new improved contract will run until 2031 now for the player. We know, of course, a number of top Premier League and European clubs were keeping an eye on his situation, but it was always the players and clubs' will to remain. So, Saka agreed in principle a new 5-year contract.
We start with the latest transfer news and a potential tug-of-war between 3 of the Premier League's biggest clubs. For Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi, a report in the Daily Mirror claims that Arsenal are the latest club to show their interest, although it's unlikely they'll make an offer this month. Manchester City are considering whether to sign a centre-back this month after injuries to Josko Vardiol and Ruben Diaz, while Guehi almost joined Liverpool in the summer. Earlier this week, Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner said he expects Guehi to stay at the club for the rest of the season, with no formal bids so far. Right, OK, good morning to Tim Sherwood. Right, Tim, why would Arsenal want Guehi when they've already got Gabriel and Saliba, and actually quite a lot of depth in that department?
Capier, Mosquera. There's no end.
White can play there.
They've got a lot of options in that area of the field. I'm not sure why. I mean, on a free transfer, anyone would take him, but he's still going to cost you a huge amount on wages. From Marc Guehi's point of view, why would he go to Arsenal? He's not going to play. If Saliba and Gabriel are fit, he would never get in the team. I think he's a decent player, but I don't think he's of the quality of those two centre-backs. And he won't want to go as backup. For me, I would... If there's other teams who obviously are in for him, the Man Cities of this world, I think there's more of a route into the first team for Man City and certainly Liverpool, which is the obvious choice. So, don't make any sense from Arsenal Football Club, and certainly from Marc Guehi's point of view, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Which one would you choose then? If it's not Arsenal, Man City or Liverpool, which one would you choose?
Lovely, great choice, Tom, isn't it?
Well, it's not a bad one, is it? Or, of course, other clubs from abroad too. They won't be his only options.
Yeah, no, of course not. It'd be a queue around the block for him on a free transfer. I think he's got limited options now. Possibly, I don't see him leaving before the end of the season. I really don't. I think whatever they're going to get for him now, Crystal Palace, I think he's worth staying. I think the value is going to be staying at the football club and pushing them higher up the Premier League and possibly, winning the FA Cup again. So I don't, and in Europe as well. Listen, I would go, if I had the choice, if I was him, I'd probably go to Liverpool Football Club. I think Man City, he would get in the team as well. Stones is coming towards the end. Who have they got? Guardiola and Diaz. At the moment, Nathan Ake's going to leave the club, so there is room for him to play. I think he will forge his way into that first team. So he's got a choice of 2 of the top teams in the Premier League, in Liverpool and Man City. And it's just where he wants to go and live, really. I mean, he could live in the same place and play for both of those sides, though. So it all depends what Mark wants and his family. If he fancies a trip to Real Madrid, I'm sure they'll take him on a free.
Yeah. Back to the men's team now, and Arsenal's goalless draw with Liverpool last night, taking them 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Well, Sky Sports are partnered with Finalysis to discover true fan opinions. Have your say on your club. Download the Finalysis app. Scan the QR code on your screen now for more details. Let's speak to Arsenal fan Tia Thorne. Now, Tia, before we get to the game, Marc Guehi, do you see that happening and do you want that to happen?
Good morning. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them that you sort of look and think, do we need him maybe? I think, I still think that maybe he doesn't start over Gabriel or Saliba at this moment in time. However, I've always looked at Guehi, and I know as well that by the talks of that have been happening, that Arteta is a massive admirer of him. I think he's a very Arsenal centre-back. I think he would suit how we play. However, obviously, game time would be an interesting one. Obviously, we've got Mosquera, we've got Hincapié as well as backup. Hincapié is only alone as well, so I don't know if something's maybe happened there that have made us sort of speak out about the interest in him. But, it's one of them with Guehi as well, as you look at and think, well, how many games is he going to get? We know there's more than enough games for him to play, but I can't see him starting every single game like Gabriel does. I can't see anyone really replacing Gabriel.
I think that seems to be the general consensus on that. Well, let's talk about last night's game then. Were you happy enough with a point?
Yes. I'm not obviously in an ideal situation. I want Arsenal to win every single game. I want us to go in and win every game. However, that's probably not possible. Perfection isn't possible in every single game. As much as when you do go up against a huge team like Manchester City, you maybe do need perfect. We were almost perfect in the 23-24 season, and that wasn't enough still. But I thought last night we weren't very good last night. I thought we lacked a lot of fire. I think attackingly we weren't sort of on the level we maybe should have been. But I think yesterday it's one of them that, sort of causes a bit of a conversation is I thought we just couldn't lose yesterday. And I know that when we went to Anfield in August, we sort of, got a bit criticised because we didn't want to lose the game. And maybe with some of the subs that we brought on in that game at Anfield was proof we didn't want to lose it. We were happy with the point. However, I think in this moment of the season, it was key to not lose. Being 5 points clear, even if we did lose, would have been fine. But 6 is also just that little bit. That extra point could go a long way. And obviously, an ideal situation, we would have won it. We'd be sat here talking about how we're 8 clear. However, I don't think we maybe offered enough to win the game. I thought Liverpool defensively were very good. Equally, don't think we offered too much. And yeah, it was one of them, I don't think we've played our best. And there's been a lot of times this season I haven't think we've played our best and we've come away with a point.
Something that everyone's talking about, and Tim, I'm going to get your reaction to this at the moment, is that Martinelli push on Conor Bradley. He has apologised, we should say that. What did you make of it at the time, and what do you make of it this morning?
Yeah, I think it was one of them, I think Arne Slot summed it up perfectly. The issue in these situations is that in football, Arsenal do it as well. I'm not saying Arsenal don't. Is that when it comes into these big games the big games sort of away from home, and players naturally tend to time waste essentially. We've seen it happen with head injuries all over the league as well. And I did think in the moment it was one of them. It was in the heat of the moment. Injury time's just about to come up on the board, or just has. I don't think Martinelli meant it. I don't think he meant it. I'm glad that he's apologised because obviously it wasn't great in the moment. But I mean, it's one of them. I think all game it was maybe a problem that Liverpool were either they're winning all their fouls cleverly as well, but it felt like they're going to sit on this point here. They're happy to sit on that point. I don't think he realised the severity. I don't think a lot of people in the ground even realised the severity of the injury. I'm glad.
For the first time in the Premier League in his career, which I think tells you everything you need to know really, that he's a brilliant player, but he needs to score more goals because he's played nearly 300 Premier League matches. And that's an area I think at the start of the season he spoke to Arteta about, or Arteta spoke to him about. And I think also for England, he's got, I think, 6 goals. So he's good enough to score more. He has to score more because the bloke they signed in the summer to sort of fire the goals to get them to the title has only scored 5 goals, Victor Gyökeres, and he looks totally lost. I mean, at the moment, it's remarkable. You think where Arsenal are 6 points clear at the top, and their top scorers are 5 goals in the Premier League, and that's Trossard and Gyökeres. And normally, teams that win the Premier League, you have at least one player that scores 20 goals. So it could be a first team to win the Premier League and not have a player gets more than 15 goals. But Arsenal do have the best squad in the league, I think, which is why they're sort of getting through and getting the results they